Hi, my name is Tiara Hall, and I had the opportunity to interview one of my coworkers slash friends. I would start by reading the questions and then giving his response. Later, I would give my feedback per question. Let's begin. The first question was, how can limited time impact the workplace? His response was, limited time can impact the workplace by putting more on your colleagues in your absence and in return cause a decrease in productivity. My next question was, can you think of an example where you have been put in this situation? He responded, yes. When he worked in the fast food industries, his coworkers called off due to a Super Bowl game. I asked him how did he read and adapt to the situation well. He told me no, he was very angry and didn't provide the best customer service like he should. I then asked him how could he have adapted to it better. He said despite of being angry at his coworkers, he still could have given his customers the best customer service possible. I next asked him could he anticipate being in that situation again in the future. He said yes. Then I asked when is that likely to happen. Response, when a coworker has to call in due to being sick or having an emergency the day of work. Okay, my feedback for this question about limited time impacting the workplace is, although his coworkers called off on the same day and he was angry about it, next time something like this occurs, he should keep a positive attitude no matter what and give the customers the best customer service possible. I have learned by myself working in fast food that the words you say, the way you carry yourself, plays a major part in how the customer feels, and it also determines whether or not the customer will return to your restaurant. Let's move on to question number 2. Question number 2. How can too much work impact the workplace? Once again, I am still responding to the questions that I asked my coworker, and these are his responses. One moment. Put it over here. Okay, first question or question number 2. How can too much work impact the workplace? His response, too much work can cause stress, depression, and even anxiety, which can lead to less productivity as well as an increase in people being absent from work. I next asked him could he think of an example when he had been in a situation like this. His response was at his former job, he was working so much and had a lot of pressure put on him, which led to becoming stressed and even started having anxiety attacks. I asked him did he read and adapt to the situation well. His response was no, not at all. I next asked him how could he read and adapt to it better. I received no answer. And then I asked him could he anticipate being in that situation again. He said no. So my feedback for this question is stress and anxiety and depression are results of a heavy workload. but there are ways to minimize or even eliminate it altogether. I would suggest if you are feeling stressed, having anxiety attacks, or even feel like you're going into a depression due to work, take a step back, talk to your manager about your workload to see what can be done to help you. You never know. He or she may request one of your colleagues slash coworkers to help you a little. I would also suggest if you can leave work at work, don't take it home. Instead, spend time doing something fun with your friends and your family. Question number 3. How can other people not doing their part impact the workplace? Response. People not doing their part at work can have a negative impact. It can alter the work quantity and quality of others around them. It can also cause for others to be stuck with too much work from picking up the slack of the person not doing their part. Next, I asked, could he think of an example where this has happened in his life? Response: a former coworker was always behind on their work, even if a deadline was involved, and he was the main one having to complete the assignments, especially the ones with the past due. Did you read and adapt to the situation well? He said no, not at all. How could he have adapted to it better? His response: he could have suggested different tips to his coworkers that would have helped him or her stay on track and even possibly caused them to get ahead. My feedback for this one would be there will always be someone in the workplace that doesn't do their part like they should. If I can suggest that if this happens to you, try having a one-on-one with the person to see exactly what the issue is. It may be that they don't understand the assignment or they have personal issues going on outside of the workplace that's causing them to lose interest and focus. Another thing I would suggest is using a task list that has deadlines and estimated completion dates listed on them and start with the task with the closest deadline date. I use tasks in my work life and home life. It helps me to stay focused and organized. It also keeps me from becoming stressed from feeling overwhelmed. Last question. How can conflict between and among employees impact the workplace? Conflict between and among employees can cause a hostile environment, which can lead to a low productivity rate. I asked him, can he give an example where he was in this situation? He said, no, never been in a situation like this. My feedback to those who have been in a situation like this is I would suggest that you or your manager sit down with the individual in a meeting to discuss the issue and get to the bottom of the conflict. Most of the time, when there is a disagreement between and among employees, it is normally caused by a misunderstanding or just a miscommunication problem. I feel if we all just sit down and talk it out, we will be able to get back on track and get back to being productive in the workplace. Thank you.